There's so many options when it comes to the unknown. You can Google Map it, Apple Map it, you can Google Earth it, AllTrails it, Waze it, Thread it, Reddit. There's Wikipedia, Expedia, social media. You can read it live, or you can live feed it, or you can text it, or you can X it, or even Instagram it. In a world where everybody has a GPS-equipped movie camera tied to a worldwide publishing house stowed away in their pocket, it seems impossible to find a square foot of Earth that is yet to be discovered. But maybe the Great Lakes are an exception. Their depths are still a largely unexplored mystery. Their sands still bury secrets. And in the wild northern shores of Lake Superior, it turns out their woods are still very good at playing home to the unknown. Hello, and welcome, my freshwater friends, to episode 27 of the About the Water podcast, an exploration of high strangeness on and around the Great Lakes. Today we follow a homemade map deep into the Ontario wilderness just east of Lake Superior's Terrace Bay. Here, we'll find a point of interest that never has been, and likely never will be, common knowledge, existing only as a strange encounter to be shared deep in the shadowy corners of the paranormal community, known only to those of us who search for strangeness as we wander about the water. Episode 27, The Distant Herd. The Ontario woods were thick and full of hungry predators. The terrain was rocky and treacherous, and the crashing waves of Lake Superior would certainly drown out any cries for help, should Matt or Bill need to do so. "It's going to be okay, Bill," Matt said. "After all, your mommy packed sandwiches." Bill's annoyed smirk prompted an onslaught of teasing from his best friend, and completely ignoring his playful diatribe, Bill was then taken off guard when Matt suddenly grabbed his coat sleeve and stopped with a gasp. "Bill," Matt said. "Bill, do you have your knife?" Fumbling through his coat, Bill fished out his multi-purpose pocket knife and handed it to Matt, who had his unblinking eyes glued on the tree line. "Good," Matt said as he pushed it away, his face melting into a mischievous smile. "We may need it if Mommy forgot to cut the crusts off the sandwiches, Bill." Matt erupted in laughter. Bill gave him a hearty shove and suggested an alternative and far less appealing item that Matt could go snack on, should he be so inclined. And with that, the friends set off into the trees. The two middle schoolers had been best friends since they were toddlers, living 2 houses away in a small residential part of southeast Terrace Bay. At a glance, they were polar opposites. Bill with his neat and tidy haircut, his brand new Columbia jacket, and trademark eager-to-please smile, and Matt with his shoulder-length shaggy hair, tattered army supply store outfit, and rebel bad boy attitude. Truth be told, they were nearly identical. Big-hearted, adventurous, outdoor-loving good guys. Matt's entire facade was a defense mechanism, strictly adhered to in order to protect himself from his runaway mom and his never-at-home dad. And while Matt would constantly rib Bill for his pampered home life, there would be week-long stretches where he would survive off Bill's mom's sandwiches, which she was always more than happy to provide for both of them. Geographically, the pair considered themselves the luckiest kids in Canada. They lived in an adventurer's paradise. Town ended at their front doors, and the Canadian wilderness began in their backyards. Just a few steps would put them deep in the woods. A half-a-mile walk would put them at Lake Superior's edge, where they had yet to ever see another person. This place felt huge. This place felt powerful, and it felt like it was entirely theirs. With Matt being the more restless and manic of the two, Bill usually just went along with whatever adventure his friend had in mind that day. But today, Matt didn't even give Bill a choice. As they walked southeast, Matt was carefully navigating via a crudely drawn map that he had removed from his pocket. And after a few course corrections, Bill finally figured out how Matt was navigating. There were markers on specific trees, black pieces of electrician's tape, looped over branches and then stuck to themselves. "Who put these here?" Bill asked. "I did," Matt replied with a self-congratulatory grin. Bill fired a shocked look Matt's way. As far as he knew, neither of them have ever gone into the woods solo. "You came out here alone?" Bill demanded. Matt explained to Bill that he was looking for grocery money in his dad's sock drawer when he came across the map, definitely written in his father's handwriting. "He found something really cool," Matt added. "I think he's used it, but I don't know what it does." Bill rolled his eyes, asking Matt, "So you think you found your way to this cool thing?" Without once looking away from his map and his markers, Matt answered, "No, Bill, I did find it. This is the way, but I need you." Bill was near speechless, uttering the single word, "For?" Matt grinned as he answered, "To work the controls." Usually not being one for swearing, what came out of Bill's mouth as the pair approached the building would have been enough to put even the most seasoned Great Lakes mariner to shame. The structure was one level, square on 3 sides, with a rounded, fogged glass block wall on the 4th. The outside bricks seemed to be a facade. Home was nearly 3 miles behind them, and the nearest road was equally as far. The nearest man-made structure outside of Terrace Bay itself shouldn't have been for at least another 15 miles. There was no road running to it, dirt or otherwise, no footpath, no signs of traffic. There weren't any power lines or utility markers anywhere. But sure enough, right in the middle of the thick woods, there it was. "I think it's like 1940s, Matt said. "It feels kind of like the high school, right?" Matt was so excited he practically skipped to the front door. But Bill hung back. He was nervous. Very nervous. Matt explained he was going inside, and before Bill had a chance to object, he responded with a carefully pre-scripted rebuttal. "Bill, find me one no trespassing sign, one, or a keep out sign. Do you see anything saying we can't go in? Private property marker, no. Address, no. Company name, no. I mean, for all we know, this is a public structure, Bill, and besides," Matt said, opening the glass front door, "it ain't locked." As Bill reluctantly approached the front door, he noticed something particularly odd about the structure. "It's really clean," he told Matt. Yeah, it's clean inside too, man. Come on," Matt offered, ushering Bill indoors. And Matt was correct. The small lobby looked pristine. The shiny, faux marble floor tiles looked freshly cleaned. The large entry mat looked brand new. And even the soft pink interior paint looked bright and vibrant. UV tube lighting buzzed overhead, and the entire structure seemed to be emitting some kind of a droning noise. "Whoa," Bill said, noticing the anomaly to his right. What he guessed had been a reception desk and waiting room of some kind appeared to have crudely been filled in with cement. It was pouring out of the doorway, making a slope of sorts that extended out into the lobby. The hardened concrete had been crudely painted the same color pink that graced the rest of the walls. Before Bill asked Matt what he thought might have happened, he saw that Matt was gone. "Come on, Bill," he heard him say. Looking around, Bill noticed the only possible place he could have gone was down a flight of stairs that were directly in front of him. Bill tiptoed towards the stairs, stopping to notice the only identifying feature in or on the entire structure. It was an aluminum sign featuring a shepherd pointing towards a simply painted valley with water in it. He seemed to be directing an ox, a horse, and a tiger as to where to go. Painted between white fluffy clouds were colorful letters that said, "The Distant Herd," spelled Heard, an auditory reference. The stairs went down a half flight and then turned 180 degrees around a corner. Matt popped his head around it and grabbed Bill's arm. "Dude, check out how far this goes." As the pair rounded the corner, Bill let out an audible gasp. The flight down was straight and seemed to go on for infinity. 737 steps, in case you're wondering, Matt said. "I counted one of the times I was here." Bill pushed Matt into the cinder block wall. You've been here more than once? You went down there?" Matt replied nonchalantly. "Yep." "Well, what's down there?" Bill asked. Matt took off as fast as he could down the stairs, not even bothering to look over his shoulder as he said, "Come find out." The bottom of the stairway opened to a huge mechanical room that looked akin to a boiler room in a large building. Noises seemed to emanate from every corner, and large groups of pipes and metal tubing ran every which way. The air temperature was noticeably cooler, as Bill wondered how deep underground they might be. Matt had entirely disappeared, and as Bill called out his name, an unfamiliar and muffled voice made Bill jump. "I'm really sorry I tricked you," it said. Bill spun around to see a figure dressed from head to toe in a foil suit, wearing a protective face mask with a respirator that obscured any facial features. "I'm sorry I imitated your friend. I really am. But I need help, and I knew you wouldn't come if it weren't him." Bill went to run for the stairs, but the voice pleaded for him to stay. It's okay. Your friend is stuck in the void, and I'm going to get him out. But I need your help. He needs our help." The figure then directed Bill to a large control lever that was sticking out of an electrical panel on one of the walls. "Not until I say so, okay?" the voice instructed, making a downward pulling motion with both arms. Bill watched, his whole body shaking in fear as the figure approached a small metal cage, opened it, and climbed inside. Looking up, Bill could see that it was tied to a winch of some kind, with a trio of thick steel cables holding it up. The figure slammed the front of the cage closed and uncomfortably wiggled inside, adjusting to the tight space. "Thank you for your help. You may go ahead." With all of his body weight, Bill pulled the lever down. With a loud thud, the cage began to descend into the narrow shaft. A bright, neon purple light was pouring out of the shaft, and the room began to fill with an electrical smell. Bill didn't need to see more. He ran up the staircase as fast as he was able, barely managing to drag himself up the last few steps. His leg muscles burned. He was gasping for breath, and eventually made it to the front door. For a few moments, Bill hid in the woods, covering his mouth to silence his huge gulps of air as he listened for any movement. But he heard nothing. Once he managed to catch his breath, Bill slowly and carefully made his way home, following the black bits of electrical tape that were still hanging from the trees. Bill arrived in his backyard. Looking through the sliding door, he could see his mom standing in the kitchen and shouting into a telephone. When she saw Bill standing there, she set the phone down, flung the door open, and began to scream at him. "You know you're not supposed to go into the woods alone. You said you were going with Matt." Bill, almost fanatically, explained to his mom that he did in fact leave with Matt, or at least what he thought was Matt. His mom's face turned red with anger as she pointed towards the phone receiver. "Both of you have a lot of explaining to do. Now hurry it up, we have a long drive." Reluctantly, Bill grabbed the receiver and put it to his ear. The voice on the other end spoke before he had a chance to. It was Matt. "Hey, man. Look, I'm sorry I lied with that foil suit and everything. I just knew if you thought it was me inside, you never would have let me go down that elevator, man. But dude, we have to go back. You have to try this. It's indescribable. And sorry to piss your mom off. I know a ride back home is a pretty big ask. And of course I can't find my dad, and I'm almost out of quarters. That was you in the suit? Bill asked. Matt, where are you? Bill's mom grabbed the car keys and yanked the phone receiver out of Bill's hands. She spoke into it. Look, just find the nearest police station and wait for us there, okay? She instructed, before forcefully hanging the phone up. No, the things I do for that kid, she muttered out loud, following that up with a few choice words about Matt's non-existent parents. All right, let's go pick him up, she said to Bill. And go use the bathroom first if you have to. Thunder Bay's 2.5 hours away, and we're not stopping. This strange experience happened decades ago, but was recently passed along to me by Bill. He was also kind enough to pass along Matt's contact info, so I could ask Matt the question that I'm willing to bet is on your mind as well. What did he experience in the whatever it was? Well, here's Matt's reply, verbatim. It happened in 2 parts. The first part is a ton, and I mean a ton of noise, and vibrations, and purple light. The elevator's really narrow. It's like a toaster slot. Actually, it really looks like a toaster slot. The whole thing jerks suddenly, and then you feel like you're floating, not falling. It's more of a weightless experience. From there, it feels like every thought in your mind gets removed and lined up outside of you. And every memory, every thought, they all get lined up sequentially. And then gently you kind of absorb them back into yourself. From there, the elevator goes up, and you're in a different place entirely. Matt went on to say that he doesn't think the foil suit was necessary for travel. It was just a prop he had found, and thought it would be helpful in manipulating Bill. And out of courtesy to any sensitive ears that might be listening, I won't read you verbatim Bill's thoughts on that little stunt. I asked Matt if he had control over anything inside the cage, and he said absolutely not. He explained, and did say it was okay to share here as well, that shortly before this whole experience he had found out his dad was running away to Europe and would not be coming home. He had abandoned Matt for his new girlfriend. As a result, young Matt didn't care what happened to him in that cage. Fortunately, he's fine. Both Matt and Bill did ask me to give a shout out to Bill's mom, who not only listened to the boy's strange tale with an open mind and a patient heart, but on hearing words of Matt's dad leaving for good, decided to take him in and raise him through high school as her own. So cheers, Mrs. Bill's mom. Definitely earning her a nomination for Mother of the Year, I have to share this, that she actually went with the boys back into the woods to try to find the building. Sadly, it seems, someone was aware of Matt's voyage, as almost all of the electrical tape markers had been removed. And being entirely unable to locate the map, unfortunately they weren't able to find it ever again. Matt, Bill, and myself did make several attempts to Google Earth the structure, but we kept coming up empty-handed. The area in question is well over 5 square kilometers and is covered in dense growth. Both of the boys noted that the building was so relatively tiny that it could well be completely hidden by trees. In terms of what the device did, what we do know is that it transported Matt instantly and completely unharmed over 170 kilometers away to Thunder Bay. He arrived in a basement of a warehouse-type building on Mount Dale Road near Walsh Street, and from there he was chased away by 2 security guards who looked less than thrilled about his presence. However, in terms of what the device was, or what the building was, we're left with only questions. Why was the reception area filled with concrete? And after filling it with concrete, why would you bother touching up such a crude method with fresh paint? It's true that some abandoned structures will have manholes or pipes or basement vaults and chambers filled in, but filling a main level room is completely unheard of. Structurally, It's amazing that the building's walls could withstand the sideways weight of the concrete. The only possible hint we really have as to the building's purpose comes courtesy of that sign. And as I'm sure you expected, no business or organization called the Distant Herd, spelled H-E-A-R-D, exists. Or apparently has ever existed. All three of us, Matt, Bill, and myself, did regard those animals on the sign as having some kind of meaning. And interestingly enough, they do indeed have a strange correlation. An ox paired with a horse, in Chinese mythology, are fearsome guardians of the underworld, who escort souls to judgment and death. They appear in the 16th century novel Journeys to the West, which was written during the Ming Dynasty and is considered an integral part of Chinese literature. And while Matt did in fact journey to the west, a heading of 255 to be exact, almost directly west, he found, and continues to find himself, far from the underworld. But after some thinking, we realized that we might have the right info, and we're just looking in the wrong place. While I was researching some possible meanings behind the bizarre sign, I came across the Chinese zodiac calendar. And with an eerie rush of excitement, which is why I do this very show, I picked up my phone and I called Matt to get some additional info. And indeed, we discovered a common thread that seems way too coincidental to be a coincidence. Matt's dad was born in 1954, indicated by a horse in Chinese zodiac signs. Matt was born in 1985, year of the ox. And Bill, as you may have guessed, was born in 1986, year of the tiger. Three of the only people to know the whereabouts of the strange building and the strange device are accounted for on that sign. And the only inquiry that remains is, who else knows? Who is our shepherd? And with that, thank you, sincerely, for listening. You're the one with the controls in your hand, and you keep operating them in a way that allows us to be together for these weird journeys, and I really do love taking them with you, so thank you. Here's hoping that the stories of your journeys are as grand, beautiful, and enduring as our Great Lakes. I'll see you about the water.